This is my Woodmizer LT10. It's Wood-Mizer's entry-level sawmill. I've made some modifications to it, but it is essentially the same, or essentially the saw as is from the dealer. Specifics on the saw, come from the manufacturer itself. It handles a 24-inch diameter log. The bed is 11 feet long. You can get extensions to add another 7 feet to it. Everything about this is manual. It's got a 10 horsepower engine. It says it allows you to handle 160 board feet per hour. I know I've never gotten to that point. If you have somebody who's maybe helping you out, maybe two people helping you out, you may be able to get to that. But one person handling everything manually certainly is pushing it as far as getting to that 160 board feet. I've made some changes to it. You can see that I included a trailer. I've made a trailer and a leveling system. The trailer is for moving it around my home. It's not rated roadworthy by DOT, but I have made it so that with the addition of fenders, lights, etc., it could be made roadworthy. I've got 4 screw jacks on the corners. The frame itself is 2x4 U-channel steel that's welded together. The screw jacks are for adjusting it, keeping it level, but a good deal of the weight is handled by the spare tire, the little donut spare tires that I use for the wheels, and pretty heavy duty axle that is a part of the trailer. Almost everything about this saw is manual, as I said before. Loading the logs, pushing the saw through the logs, raising and lowering the saw head, turning on the lubrication, which is basically water, a little water tank that has a little stopcock that you turn to let the water drip out. Turning the logs, clamping the logs, starting the engine, throttling the engine. All of these adjustments are done manually. You can see me loading up the log there. Obviously that was done manually. I used a cant hook to roll the logs, and then that giant board there to kind of serve as a ramp. You can see that you put those stops to stop the log from rolling off the other side, but all that's you have to adjust by hand. See, I'm adjusting it so that the stops go lower, so that the blade itself doesn't run through those steel stops. The clamp is on the other side. I'll get to that in a sec, but it's all done manually as well. It's really very heavy-duty clamp, but you do have to make all those adjustments by hand. Well, there's a heavy log. I'm not sure what the diameter is on that, but it certainly fits the capacity. It's not that large of a log. So there's the clamp. It's got a little screw. Clamp it down there, and it just tensions on to a little bar. Just got to make sure that turning bar is down, otherwise the blade could catch it, and of course that's say goodbye to the blade. That's the lowering level, or the lock mechanism for raising and lowering the saw head. Let's see the ruler, so you can gauge that. Throttle, gas on, choke, 10 horsepower engine. I think they used to sell a 7 horsepower engine with it, but it's I don't think that's available this time. Even at 10 horsepower, it gets a little bogged down if you're cutting really hard wood. Locust, Osage orange, you got to go really slow. This was a very cold day. I think it took 4 pulls to get it started. Adjust the choke a little bit, but there's 2 more pulls. 1 and 2. There we go. So then you gotta kind of hop up onto the frame, get those adjustments, turn the saw on. I'll show you some videos later of saw in operation, but for this first cut here, I've sped it up a little bit so that you can kind of see it in action. But when it comes to making those cuts and turning the log and how to go about doing all that, I'll get to that in later videos. So this has been sped up. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe. This is one of my first videos, so hopefully you like what you see, and watch more as they come.